All right. Firstly, yeah, what's gone wrong? What's gone wrong with the tank? Yeah, something did break, and yeah, it's a strange one. So the thing that actually broke was this thing over here. Well, it didn't technically break, but it got jammed. Not that it jammed the seatbelt buckle in, but that it just wouldn't allow in. It's almost like the catch inside didn't work anymore, so I'd actually clipped the seatbelt in, and it just wouldn't accept it, wouldn't hold it there. So I don't know, I've got kids. Something could have gone down there. The little mechanism inside could have momentarily just I don't know, jammed inside. But there was no, I mean, the last time I used it, I unclipped it, I released the buckle, got in the next day, tried to clip, and just wasn't staying in there. So there's a bit of annoyance because I had to, get to the dealer, and I had to, obviously get it fixed, and then, you have to book it in. You can't just drive into a dealership and go, hey, just quickly have a look at this thing. You actually have to wait for an appointment and all that type of thing. So yeah, I went around to different dealers, and nobody could help me within they're all pretty busy and pretty full. So that was a bit annoying. But I was in contact with the sales manager at Plumstead, Kyle, and he did try and get it resolved quickly. So I booked it in with them, and while I was waiting for the vehicle, they allowed me to look at the Tank 300 HEV Ultra, which you can see the video linked up here. And while I was reviewing that vehicle, they actually had a look at it, and they couldn't find any problems. It actually had started working before I took it in. It just started working. So anyway, I took it to them. They checked it out. They put a little bit of lubricant in there, just a tiny bit, obviously, just in case there's a mechanism that's getting stuck. And since then, it's been a couple of months now, and absolutely no problem. So yeah, that was just a strange one. Can't explain what it was. Might have been something that's gone in there. Yeah, so that's that. So what else has gone wrong? What else has gone wrong? Well, actually, nothing. Nothing else has gone wrong. There's really nothing to say. I mean, after the first 5,000 Ks, everything seems to be in order. The gearbox is shifting beautifully. The engine is performing very well. It's a nice torquey engine. Really enjoy the drive. Aircon works well. Just for some context, I've been on some gravel roads. I've towed with it, 1.2 ton trailer, cam trailer. You can see the picture over here. I have been off-road. I've done Atlantis Dunes a couple of times. I have done some obstacle courses, and no competition, just testing articulation and things like that. You can see it in the Tank off-road review. It's also on the channel. And I am going to Atlantis Dunes tomorrow. It performs exceptionally well in the dunes. Obviously, it's a petrol engine, so it's got a lot of torque. So it's got a lot of, it's not a high revving engine, but it's certainly got the revs when you need it, and the poke. So in the dunes, really, it's a monster. Yeah, so first 5,000 Ks. What I would like, though, is I would like Haval to update the infotainment layouts, because I see in other regions, specifically in China, they got different dials and different layout, which is very, very cool. They've got I like the traditional rev gauge or round rev gauge and the odometer, speedometer, because I'm just old school like that. And this has just got like bars, like it's got a digital readout, obviously, the numbers, and then it's got like the bars, which I'm not a big fan of, but it hasn't been a really big issue. But I'd like that option. So if they could just do an update to that. Yeah, everything else is solid. There's no rattles, no squeaks. And only rattles and squeaks that you will find is that if you've got like some keys somewhere, or a bottle, or any loose items, those are the things that rattle in the car. But otherwise, you eliminate those things. The car is 100% solid still. I know it's only 5,000 Ks, but yeah, that's been my experience. Okay, some of the things that I feel should be addressed in the future with the car, just to improve it a bit more. So stock, if you're going to drive it around and it's your average daily driver, you're not really dune bashing. You're not really towing excessively high loads. You're just using it as a weekend car to pack their family in and go on vacation. Boot space is adequate. I mean, I've got two small kids, and we filled the boot up with all the blankets and bags and food items and things like that. And the 400 liters, it seems a bit more than 400 liters because you can actually pack it quite high. But I could still see out the window with what we had. So that was adequate. So if you're going to use it for that purpose, the car's perfect. There's nothing to change. But for my application, I do put a lot of tow ball weight onto the vehicle with the trailer, and with all the people in the car. Obviously, then the back sags a bit, and if I go over like really big bumps, then it will hit the bump stops. You can actually feel that it hits the bump stops, which if you're going to load the car like that, obviously it's to be expected. The other thing that is very soft. The car is generally softly sprung, but the front suspension is also particularly soft. So as you can see, when people brake hard, the car dives quite a lot. It's not a safety issue in my view, really. There's been no reported incidents. It's been fine, but it is. And what happens is, it if you brake hard, it goes down and it actually rests on the bump stops on the front, which then tips the back up. So as an improvement, what I would do is obviously just get an aftermarket suspension, which is what I'm going to do anyway. And a lot of off-road SUVs and four-wheel drive bucky ute owners do anyway, right? They put an aftermarket suspension in. Why? Because they're going to load the vehicle up, they're going to tow, they're going to need better dampers or shock absorbers to account for the terrain they're driving on, where it's corrugated roads or a lot of bumpy dune driving or high-speed driving on the sand, that type of thing. So when I say high-speed, I mean, when you're going up a dune, you're going to 60, 70 Ks just to get up a long dune. The suspension is going to jump, and you might hit some dips, and you don't want the car to be bottoming out. So based on that, aftermarket suspension, a little bit of a lift, is going to make this car magic. Perfect. Once you got the aftermarket suspension, you're not going to have bottoming out anymore, hitting the bump stops, those type of things. You're able to carry the loads that you want, and it's going to be a perfect overlander and tourer, and won't have any issues. When you, with the current stock suspension, and you're going down a descent, like a rocky descent, and you deflate the tires, obviously your ground clearance then becomes quite low. So if the ground clearance is normally 215, I can't remember, 215 millimeters, is probably sitting at like 190, 180. Now that's normal for most SUVs, right? You drop the tire pressure, you lose a bit of ground clearance, and then also when the vehicle is going down, all the weight is sort of on the front suspension. You're limiting that clearance as well. So basically, with the aftermarket suspension, it's going to be able to maintain your ride height a little bit more. So that's the other benefit of an aftermarket suspension. The other thing is that obviously, depending on what you're going to be using the car for, you're gonna change the tires. Okay, so the tires you're going to have to change, because if you're going off-road, you want a little bit more traction, you want a tougher tire. So all-terrain tires, perfectly fine. I've gone up sort of one size. So this is there's aircraft coming across. It's coming down low. Check the sunroof. So so you're going to want all-terrain tires. I've gone up from, I think it was a 30.6 inch to a 31.6 inch. So it's like a 1 inch tire circumference increase, tire diameter. Anyway, I've gone up from a 30.6 to a 31.6 inch tire, so a little bit bigger. And I find that's the perfect balance, because it doesn't impact the fuel consumption too much. It gives you a little bit of ride height. I think 18 millimeters or 15 millimeters or 16 millimeters, I can't remember. So that definitely helps. And it's an all-terrain, so when you're going in the mud and rocky situation, sand, those type of things, tire definitely helps. I had the 33s on, which I felt was a little bit too big, because if you're going to be doing some hardcore off-roading, those are perfect. Those give you the extra ground clearance, which I really liked. that includes approach and departure and ramp over angles. That all improves. But for my application, which is more of a daily driver and occasional, when I say occasional, once a month going off-road, I don't need big tires like that, although I have them in storage, so one day I might put them back on. All right, so that about wraps it up for today's video on the Tank 300, first 5,000 Ks. Like I said, just, the more you drive it, the more you uncover the features of it, the more you realize just how good a car it is, especially off-road, with the triple locked, and the traction control is just really amazing. I mean, as good as the best, really, as good as the best. And yeah, that's the first 5,000 Ks. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, at least add a comment. Let me know what you think. If you own one or you don't own one, go give it a test drive. Let me know, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. I'm trying to get up to 200 subscribers. So please leave me a subscribe and a comment and a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.